Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, hi. So, what a fantastic day it's been. I feel absolutely inspired, and there's also a lot of pressure because we are the last panel. So, we're going to be leaving people with that impression. So, we're going to work super hard. And I'm also sad to say that this is actually the end of the Des and Div show for 2024. And I'm just going to see her back again in 2025. We have this pact that we make that it's always going to be the Des and Div show, or the Div and Des show. But anyway, I'm Desiree, and it's really, really great to have you all here. And today we're talking about Asian forces in fashion, and certainly with me today are definitely forces in fashion. So on my far right, we have Phillip Lim, who is a renowned fashion designer, and he's been with his own label for 20 years and now embarking on new endeavors. He's also an author and a recognized community advocate for victims of hate crime. A New Yorker, but although he was born in Cambodia and raised in Thailand, and is recently remodeling an amazing home in Norfolk, which I'm trying to get into for Vogue Living. I'm announcing this right now because I'm never going to leave him alone, ever, ever. And then we have Will in the middle. So Will is actually our Hong Kong born and bred superstar right now. He is an actor. Most memorable role for me was your role in Gam Sao Ji, the Goldfinger. Really, it was very convincing. And he majored in creative media at City University. And he actually participated in multiple editions of Fresh Wave International Short Film, both as an actor and a director. And for accolades, he's also earned the Best Supporting Actor nominations at the 58th Taiwan Golden Horse Award and the 40th Hong Kong Film Awards. Last but not least, because we're very, very, very equal opportunities. I'm actually getting the girl introduced last instead of the first, okay? Because Tina is definitely a force of nature. She is a prominent fashion influencer, stylist, an entrepreneur known for her vibrant and eclectic taste. She is experienced in working with high-profile brands and magazines. Luckily, I get to work with her sometimes. And also, she is great friends with Phillip and Prabal, both of whom are here today. And I think you all have seen her in Bling Empire. So that just about sums it up for the next, maybe kind of, yes. So the rest of the stuff you're gonna actually have to look up a little bit later. So I'm going to work backwards right now. So we're talking about Asian forces shaping identity and style. So starting with Tina. So Tina has basically worked in Hong Kong and is based in New York. And you've worked in media and also as a fashion influencer. So how do you bring your distinctive Asian voice into your work?
Well, I am Asian through and through. I was born here to very conservative Chinese parents. And there's nothing that I can't do that isn't Asian, because that is who I am. And everything that I do is informed by my Asianness, starting from my parents wanting me to be a lawyer or a doctor and me rebelling against that, to now living in New York and having Asian food for every single meal. It's like everything is informed by how I grew up. Going to university in England, now living in New York, everything is a whole mixture of everything that I've been through. So there's nothing that isn't informed by it, really. Just being myself and being authentic.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking to a fellow New Yorker, Phillip, who also had parents who were Asian immigrants, and you've made huge strides in fashion in the world, and of course, back in your home city of New York. What are some of the values that you have brought with you throughout your journey, whether they came from your parents or being yourself, finding your own identity?
Thank you. Thank you guys for spending the last hours with us. I know it's a long day, but hopefully Will put on a good show. We talked about this. Yeah.
Will's really stressed.
Yeah. Goodness. You know, when I started this career, like when I first moved to New York about 20 years ago, I remember the interview questions from the journalists would always be like, how does it feel to be Asian in fashion? Do you bring your Asianness into your work? And I never understood what that meant because I grew up in the West Coast in America. And for me, it was just like, hey, I'm an American, an Asian American. And I didn't understand how to respond to that. And I always thought that, quite frankly, it was a bit racist because they wouldn't be asking other designers that question. They would also insinuate, is red your favorite color? Are you inspired by dragons and phoenix? Blah, blah, blah. And this is not recent. This is pretty recent, guys. And I thought about it, and I'm like, actually, my Asianness, you will never see it because you can only feel it. Because in my home, I don't know about your home, but my home, our parents taught us about grit, about grace, about values, about integrity, about doing things the right way, building things the right way, honoring your guests. And my guest was people who would put on my clothes. And again, you would feel it. But I was lucky that my mother taught me grace and my father taught me grit. And those are two traits that you really need to have to survive fashion and to have fun along the way. And now that's changed a bit because now it's important also to use your voice. It's so important, as we have all experienced and witnessed in the past years, that equity, a space, a seat at the table is no longer guaranteed. So when you do have that moment, when you do have that platform, or when you're in that position, not only do you apply grace, grit, but you use your voice too. So it's kind of a full circle moment being in front of you guys right now. So I'm in my phase of using my voice.
Excellent.
Can I add to that a little?
Absolutely.
I've never felt more Asian than when I moved to New York. Like living here, growing up here, I didn't feel, oh, I'm Asian or whatever. I just felt like I was one of the people.
Yeah.
But moving to New York sort of made me feel different, and it enunciated, is that the right word? My Asianness, and you saying we have a voice. That my voice strengthened after I moved to New York, because here I didn't feel like I needed to stand up for anyone, but there we really needed to use a voice. So the most Asian I ever feel is when I'm not here, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Excellent. I'm going to maybe follow this question up with Will, because Will is actually an actor who is trained and is actually working in Hong Kong, and his voice is also his craft as he's an actor. So Will, let me ask you this. When you're stretching your creativity, how does your Hong Kong upbringing gives you a perspective of being an actor, and how does that relate to being international, being yourself outside of Hong Kong?
Like after hearing Tina and Phillips, and unlike most of the parents in Hong Kong, and actually my parents gave me so much freedom to explore different aspects in different fields, and they know me well, and they don't push me to become a doctor or lawyer. So I got the freedom to explore different things. Like my mom would take me and my brother and sister to watch Harry Potter in theater when I was a kid. Like that was my favorite book, even though she took us to like a Cantonese version. So instead of like listening to, hey Harry, you were a wizard, I listened to it's like, Harry, 你係一個魔法師. So like but I was always grateful to my parents giving me such a big freedom to explore what I like. I even actually dropped out from university. Say, hey, mom and dad, I don't want to study anymore. I want to be an actor. And they just say, have you really think about it? Have you really thought through about it? And okay, never mind. So like I'm kind of like the bad kid in the family. So when I was a kid, I was so free to watch different things that I like. I was growing up by watching Friends, The Big Bang Theory, and even like when I was in university, I was always hanging out in a theater called BC in Yau Ma Tei. They show a lot of different movies around the world. So that's the time I watched Mommy by Safin Dolan, and I love it so much. And I kind of like, I want to be in the big screen. I'm trying to do something like this, so I want to join the circus. So I think I would say thanks, Mom and Dad, even though they're not here right now, they're at home. That's
you.
not too worried about it.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, clarifying. So I know that it's easy to get miscommunicated, but like, thanks, Mom and Dad.
I'm going to keep putting Will on the spot for the next question because he answered the first one so well. So, Hong Kong stars, are of a unique identity as well, because I think Hong Kong film has a very unique identity. When you are, when you've become a breakout star, how do you feel about identifying yourself as a Hong Kong actor within a wider Asian dialogue? We're not even going to talk about international. And what makes Hong Kong unique? What makes a Hong Kong star unique, Will?
Thank you about that. I'm kind of shy about listening to like a major star in Hong Kong. Like I was keeping doing something I love. Thinking about this, who has been working in Hong Kong for so long? We know that we in Hong Kong, like it's really a fast-paced city. So rushing to a deadline in a very short period of time is something we have to deal with every day. So being flexible, the flexibility is in our blood. So I think this kind of like help adapt to different environment. And I was so lucky to work with various directors, talented people all around the world. I've been working with Miss Leung, expat. And recently I'm gonna work with a Singaporean director soon, and I've worked with Yaze 导演 and Yujin 导演 from Taiwan. And I think being flexible is our strength to adapt different environment. It's in our blood, so it's a really fast pace. That's why you know that. So we have to rush to different deadline to like in a very short period of time. You have to do this by tomorrow. I said, what the? So okay, I'm gonna do it. I have to think creatively to do something that I might not be able to do it, but we have to do it. So that's what I think makes it our uniqueness.
Interesting. I'm also going to pass this question to Tina because she started behind the scenes. She was a stylist. She was a writer as well. And then eventually her pretty face was no longer able to keep that identity behind the scenes. And she became an influencer and, of course, starring in Bling Empire. When you are working in an industry, in America, how do you envision yourself as an Asian actor or something, making yourself relevant to the international or USA audience while being yourself?
I don't really think so in depth. Oh, how do I be Asian? And then am I like Western enough? And honestly, I just am being me 100,000%, and all I can be is myself. And everything that I do, every choice that I make, I think, does this give me joy? Does this excite me? Does this kind of scare me? Like Bling Empire, I was like, oh my God, me being in a reality show, what? But it was about Asian representation, even though it was like very blingy Asian representation. And I said, can we change the name at least? But no, that was obviously not possible. But everything that I do, I make sure that it's authentic to me. I'm not trying to be something I'm not, and then I know that I'm going in the right direction. So I don't know if that makes me like answers your question in the sense that I'm Asian enough and then I'm Western enough. I am both and all, and everything that my experiences have informed me. So I don't know. Does that answer?
It answers pretty much.
Okay.
So everybody here on the panel is absolutely confident and very sure of what they're doing right now. So I also want to direct this question to Phillip. So a lot of Asian designers are still starting out, and sometimes they struggle with their creative identity. You've been doing this for 20 years. What advice would you give to someone who is starting out now about finding their own creative self, let alone creative Asian self?
Oh my goodness, guys. just chill out. Seriously, relax. A book is never revealed backwards. A movie, it does not start from the end to the beginning. You are not, okay, this room is full of like very talented people, but not everyone is like a genius where instantly you're born here, you know it all, you start a brand, you can set, you know your image, you know how to structure everything. I think that after doing this for this long, I realized there's so many narratives that we're told from the beginning that's absolutely not true. And the first thing I would say to anyone starting out, creatives, designers, chill out. Get to know yourself, get to develop your own voice, your own style. You know, so many people are gonna push you out of the way. They're gonna give you 15 minutes if you're lucky. If you're talented, you may get 18 minutes. But if you're really good and you do it your way, it's for a lifetime. So take your time, really harness, hone in, practice all you want, and reinvent as much as you want. You know, I think that this whole notion of, you strike something and you're the genius and you're the it person and you're this, it's just all a race to the bottom. So what you want to do is try to have fun along the way, stretch your time out, get to know yourself, get very comfortable, and just play, literally, and take your time doing so. So that's my advice.
Now, looking through a 20-year career, a remarkable career, when did you start to really get into the groove? I mean, when it was your journey? I know it's sometimes easy to give advice, but what really did it for you? When did you feel that you were the most comfortable with your identity? And, what was the moment that you really felt that you were, this is Phillip Lim?
When I said no, when I said quit, when I left my company, I recently stepped away from my own brand after 20 years. And that was an eye-opening experience because it took a lot to do that. It made me reflect on who I am, what I built, and what I can also rebuild. So to answer that question is now. From the outside, there's so many stories or narratives that, what happened. The only thing that happened is I happened. I decided that I wanted to reinvent myself. And that takes you to really know who you are and have that confidence and being comfortable to really get to know yourself. In this case, myself.
That's a very, very good answer. And I want to applaud a remarkable designer that can actually step away from it all to actually restart. I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, I think that, again, I think you get to that point, if you know yourself, this is your life, no one else's, not your parents' life. A lot of us in this room, we do things for our parents. If you're a product of immigrants especially, and I can only speak to that because that's my experience, but it's like, oh, this is your one chance, this is your one opportunity. And that may be true through their lens, but it's absolutely not true because it's your life. And however many times you want to restart that opportunity, it's up to you, but you have to get to know yourself. And you have to find it deep within your truth to understand that, that for yourself. It's your journey.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Will's journey is obviously still continuing, and his journey is almost like the journey of Hong Kong cinema. What would you say is about Hong Kong cinema and the Hong Kong cinema's aesthetics that you feel is quite unique and identifying as a Hong Kong actor in a Hong Kong cinema?
Recently, there's a movie called The Last Dance. They just hit the 100 million box office by telling to localize the deaf care story about deaf care in Hong Kong. So that's so different from the Western community about talking about when it hits to deaf care. So we're trying to tell the local story to telling the story to the world. Frankly speaking, the the Hong Kong movie industry was parsed by the golden era. It's not comparable to the golden era in the 80s or 90s. But I'm still here. We're still here. And there's so much my actor friends, director friends keep working on their stories. So being localized is the key point. And even though the situation is quite difficult right now, but working on how to present the different side of Hong Kong is the key part. Is anyone invested in a Hong Kong movie? And please call me, because we are trying hard. We are trying hard here. So I think you have to do something you are really passionate about, you truly love. Because I never see being an actor is a job. Whenever it comes to a new script, I was thinking about like 24/7, thinking how to make this character special and make it unique. And I think the whole thinking process is like what we are facing right now. So I would just keep doing it because I like it.
And how do you inspire others? Now, you have a very infectious personality. When you get on set, how are you inspiring others by being yourself?
The key point is not being yourself in the set, because I have to transfer myself to the character. It's like I can go on and on and on and on, but it's like we got 6 minutes left. So
Yeah,
the key point is like you have to read through the script like 100 times to make it different. You have so many options for being an actor, being a character, but you list it all out, but you have to eliminate all of it to grab the core value from that character. And you have to play a little charisma of yourself, put a little flavor on it, and communicate with your directors so things would go smoothly. That's my key point.
Okay, communication is definitely key.
And being chill in the set, because like people around you like rushing.
So I'm going to go back to Tina because this is I'm going to give her a fashion question. So having a very international upbringing and also international work experience, how do you think that has shaped your styling aesthetics? Because you will be styling.
Yes, I have been styling, and I am styling, and I styled Probable's show for how many seasons has it been? 3, and we're about to do our 4th. And this partnership has been very fruitful and hilarious, and I love how honest that we're able to be with each other. Okay, I think my style is pretty eclectic and all over the place, and sometimes it doesn't match, and sometimes things don't make sense in my head, but then it makes sense in my heart. So I was born here, then I moved to California when I was 2, then I went to boarding school in Boston, came back here, university in Maine and also in England, and then New York a little bit, and I've traveled a lot, and I love people watching. I love just sitting at a cafe, sitting at a restaurant, seeing what people are wearing, and I can go into any store and find something that I like, that I want to buy, any store. So I think that kind of helps in shaping my eclectic sort of style. I don't have a uniform. I'm not like, I can be goth 1 minute and business bitch the next minute. I don't know, can I say bitch? And
I think
anyways,
bitch is no longer a profanity.
Right,
I think
right.
it's
No,
totally
right?
like, yeah.
And then Prabal and I, every time we're styling something, every time I'm styling a piece or a look, we're always like, we have to go for cunty. So we're kind of
That
like,
might be profanity.
but it's like the highest form of flattery, I think, when someone's look has that little bit of, yes. So yes, my style is all over the place, and I love traveling and watching movies, looking at art, looking at how my friends put things together, and mistakes are often the most interesting bits and pieces. Like I make a mistake, but then it's actually fabulous. So
That's so cool. Now, we've had a lot of explanation of how you guys came to be who you are. So if you had a playbook, I'm going to ask the three of you the same question. What do you think would be the one word that describes your playbook? So we're going to start with Phillip. Sorry, we didn't rehearse this question. I'm
one
so
word?
sorry. Yeah, one word. Yeah, we only have like 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, authentic. That's my playbook.
Will.
I would say aloof, because like you have to be distant sometime to see the whole picture. I would say that aloof.
And Tina.
Can I say 2 words?
Yes, because
Oh.
you're special.
Always learning. But that really is, this year has been like nonstop lessons, so that's my playbook. What about yours?
Survival, I think right now. I've been going nonstop. Just
I feel that as well.
like I'm throwing a party and then I go home and I just pray that nothing's burned down or something like that. And then the next day I'm here trying to do a panel with
thriving,
really
not just surviving.
interesting people.
Yeah.
And and Kenneth is telling me you got to be here, you got to be there, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, so basically, I think Hong Kong, is also in survival mode
Oh my
right now, and I
gosh,
think what we need is enthusiasm, we need positivity, and I think most of all we need empathy, and I think we actually stick with each other and understand each other. I think we will be getting out of this with more grace and grit, and I
Grace and
salute
grit.
all of these people that I have the pleasure of speaking with. Thank you for having us at
you.
Fashion Asia. This has been the most
Thank you.
wonderful day
Thank
for
you,
me, and
Desiree.
thank you to Tina, Will, and Phillip. Thank you.